Welcome. We're here with Solomon Adote, the Director and Chief Security Officer for the state of Delaware. Solomon, thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
My pleasure. I'm doing really well.
It's great to have you with us. It's our pleasure. Let's go ahead and start at a high level. Just tell us a little bit about your background and how you came to be where you are.
Wonderful. The name is Solomon Adote. I am the chief security officer for the state of Delaware. My responsibility extends beyond all parts of government, executive, legislative, and judiciary. Our environment enables us to be able to funnel and transition traffic through our own threat mitigation capabilities, and my team provides the security that is associated with that. So I've been in a role for more than 4 years now, protecting the constituents' information and critical services that they rely on every day. My background is quite unique. I started off in aviation, graduated with an aviation degree, did quite a bit of flight, and then did a pivot to IT and then to cybersecurity. And since then, it's a story that has led me to manufacturing, retail, consulting, and global services to the state of Delaware.
That's wonderful. Okay, as you're talking about the cybersecurity industry, what are some of the most interesting trends that you see in cyber right now, and what's leading us to the next steps in the cybersecurity market?
It's a very interesting question because the pandemic kind of changed the dynamic a little bit. The priority before the pandemic was really ransomware. It's about getting into your company and moving laterally and exfiltrating your data. With people going back home, the concept kind of switched a little bit with a focus on identity. Identity became key. Identity became key from a strategy, from a concept, from a philosophy perspective. But it also created an opportunity for cybersecurity professionals. It actually enabled us to be able to align services to business goals. We can enable the delivery of business digital services and government digital services by being the gatekeeper, by being the experience enabler at the edge. By doing that, you see cybersecurity becoming not just a profit center, a service center, but a delivery center. So that was good for cybersecurity. Also generated a lot of you want to say funding and revenue to the cybersecurity business. But the goal of all of that was really secondary user. Secondary was user experience. Primary was protecting these solutions that now were not within the borders of our organization because you are accessing these applications directly from the internet. So identity became key. But beyond identity, I think the second thing that is the most important, that is a trend that it must be taken seriously, is intelligence based threat detection and response. Threat detection alone is not enough. The alert that you got for malware, the constant alerts that you're getting may not be the actual risk you're trying to identify. But when you overlay that with threat intelligence, now you know that the tactics of the bad actor that you're dealing with is to create noise and have a back end process, a back door to say. So now it enables you not to focus on the alarms, which quickly grab your attention, to say what else is going on beyond these alarms. Oh, I'm seeing this communication outbound to this threat actor on this port to this destination with this large amount of data. When you put intelligence on this threat event, that's when you see the full details of what's going on. That's why it's not just sufficient to have point tools that are just alerting you to one threat or the other, but to overlay that with threat intelligence, to overlay that with network connectivity, so you have a better picture of, are you following just the noise or are you focusing on where your actual threats are? Now, can always add that ransomware has not disappeared. It's still in the headlines. They still want to get in. They still want to move laterally. So your microsegmentation program has to be strong. Your phishing protection program has to be strong. But if you capture identity, you capture threat detection and response in real time, and then you include a strong web protection and internal network segmentation, I think you're putting yourself in a strong position to really be a formidable force against the bad actors.
Terrific. Okay, and how can organizations benefit from true context? Can you give us some little information there?
And I think that's what it comes down to, right? Definitely trying to hire the right skill set these days is becoming an art that is elusive. You take state government, we can't compete with the private sector and the salaries they're able to pay. That means we will have to get them young. We have to bring them new. We have to develop them. We have to train them, but we have to give them tools to work. But giving them the complex cybersecurity tools we have these days does not add value. They probably are more dangerous in them. But what if we can give them the ability to detect a threat, alert you to a threat, and awaken the army to respond to this threat? That is value. And not just that, not their alerts. If you're in an organization that is 150,000 hosts, 8.3 billion events per month, you realize that an alert is just an alert. But what if that alert was overlaid with network traffic that told you that that alert actually called out to the internet? And then overlay that again with threat intelligence that said the destination they talk to is associated with the Reich ransomware, is associated with some particular bad actor or Russian bad actor that does these and these and these and these activities, including data exfiltration. Let's take it even further. What if we can give you a bar that is big enough that you see that data is leaving, large amounts of data that is leaving? I think you're hard to find a solution that can do that. There are probably solutions in the industry that are data leakage prevention specialty products, but if focus on a particular type of data that you can detect, tag, and identify as being what you want to categorize. But you take some of the recent events, a software company losing 30 gigs worth of their intellectual property. How is that not detected? And it's because we're always looking for that credit card, that social security number, that particular data that we think we can recognize, and we miss the big picture that the large amounts of your data is leaving. And that's the value that we want organizations to get from this product.
Got it. Okay, and then a final question for you. What can entities do to mitigate the risk of data exfiltration? Are there any tips or any processes that you would recommend there?
I think first start with being able to detect large amount of data leaving your network. Now, definition of large amount of data might vary from one company to the other, but you know how much data you have. You know what the most critical amount of data that you have. Do that first. It takes a long time to tag your data. Like I said, credit cards are easy. Every tool can detect that. Social security numbers, tools can detect that. But can they detect your formulas? Can they detect it in structured databases and unstructured data sources? When you get into those kind of conversations, you realize you have a long period to get that data fully tagged so a standard data leakage prevention tool can detect it. So start with knowing that your data is leaving. Start with being alerted that this much data went to somebody. Not that it went to your bank, but it went to a bad actor that your threat intelligence overlaid over your data will tell you. That is where we want to go in organizations across the globe. And hopefully that organizations are focused on that. That first detect the data, second figure out what's in the data. But first detect that the data is leaving.
Amazing. Solomon Adote, Director and Chief Security Officer for the state of Delaware. It's been an absolute pleasure learning more about all of this and about Visium and what they're doing in the space. Thank you so much for joining us.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you.